Good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host, and I am really excited and grateful to have my buddy Brian Hess on the show today. Today is actually Brian's birthday. He's 40 years young today. So I want to welcome Brian. Brian, thanks for coming on the show, bro.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
Ditto, dude. Ditto. Look, I got the balloons. Yeah. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
40.
Thank you. Hard to believe, right? It is hard to believe.
I remember being 40.
I hope I remember being 40 down the road here. So that's always a positive
Yeah.
if you remember that, right?
Right. So dude, I know you were on the show last year from your truck cab.
I was at a truck stop in my truck cab
in Northern Ohio.
I was in Northern Ohio somewhere at a truck stop.
Yeah.
So a little better setting this time.
Yeah, and hey, Mike Fallett's on. What's up, Mike? Eric Cornelius. We got some people on. So he said he doesn't look a day over 39. Eric thinks he's a comedian. So,
thanks.
Huh?
Thanks. I take all the compliments I can get.
Right. So, you were on last year and you kind of told your story, but why don't you do a little bit of a recap of, where you're from, where you're born and raised and all that?
So, born and raised in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, so Southwest PA, small town, south of Pittsburgh. So I'm a Pittsburgh boy through and through, black and gold till I die. But born and raised just outside of Pittsburgh. So dad was a steel worker, mom was a stay-at-home mom. So traditional American family. I just was on Carl's show a few weeks ago, talked about, just learning a lot of blue collar type grit from my dad, working hard for, he worked at U.S. Steel for 43 years. And so I grew up around that hardworking blue collar mentality. And so that's where I get a lot of that just grind it out, kind of whatever it takes, grit of mine. And so, graduated high school, kind of made my way down to the city from there, went to college, didn't finish college, went to Pitt, but didn't finish, got out, got a job doing what I was going to do anyway. So I was going for business. And man, the journey that I took in the business world is an odd one, right? So from working in the retail setting to ended up in corporate America with Verizon. So was a, sales leader, director at Verizon, managing teams of people that sold to small businesses, and ended up relocating down to South Florida with Verizon. And then, believe it or not, got hired by an asphalt paving and concrete contractor that was originally from Pittsburgh when I moved down there. So he recruited me away from Verizon, which I thought would never happen. I just figured I'd stay in the corporate world forever. But I saw this little glimpse of small business, and it was interesting to me. I thought, man, this is pretty cool. I've always done well in my career. I was always successful at Verizon, and, really wanted to take a shot to see what's it like, when you do it on your own or more on your own. And so I stepped into private business and was very successful with that company. We grew that company significantly over a couple of years, and then decided eventually I was going to step out on my own and step into the crazy world of entrepreneurship. And
let me stop you for a second. Let me ask you, because you just covered like 30 years I'm kidding, in 5 minutes, but no, like 40. Yeah, and we got Eric Cornelius over here being a smart ass. Pittsburgh has a football team.
Yeah. Couple championships too.
Yeah, like 6 of them, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I'm as most people know, I'm a Steelers fan too. So, but so you covered a lot there, and I want to back up a little bit and say, like, What are some of the, because you and I are really good friends. We talk a lot on the phone. I mean, you've called me at 11 o'clock at night going, dude, I'm heading to Atlantic City for a job quote. I got to be there at 4 a.m. And I'm like, what? And like,
No, you're the only person going to be awake, man. So,
yeah. I'm
you
like, dude, I
got
thought
to
I
keep
was the only crazy one here. So, man, I'm getting a flicker. Is that on my end? It must be. Something's up. But so what are some of the, whether it goes back to childhood, and I've met your parents, and I've been in that house actually that you're in, and that's where I met them, and dude, like they're two of the most incredible people in the world. But like, what are some challenges you've faced along the way? Because you've told me some of them, and we don't have to name names or get real specific, but I think because this show's literally, that's what it's about, right? It's about helping people have a breakthrough that are hitting the crap in life and can't get through it. Like what are some of the challenges you've had along the way that you thought, I'm not getting through this?
Yeah, I'll go back to, when I left corporate America, I had a nice cushy corner office job. And, although I was successful, it was a lot, from an effort standpoint, it was a lot easier than what I do now. And, so I took a leap of faith to go into private business. And not long after I arrived at that company, I started to realize the inner workings of it were not exactly, what I expected. And so, that turned into a very interesting path of trying to correct some of the things within that company that I knew were, didn't match my ethics, my values, that kind of thing. And so, through that whole entire process, I was scared to death, man. I thought, man, what did I just do? I left the comfort and stability of this great job. I was on an upward trend in corporate America. Could have just stayed the course and, had a pretty solid life. But, for me, it was like, it was more than money. Stepping outside of corporate America, it was about passion and finding what I was capable of doing. And then to run square smack into a wall, like, holy shit, what did I just do? To not just me, but to my family and, everything else. It's like, you got a lot riding on that. And so, through a couple of years there, I found out how to fix some of the things, but you also figure out that, sometimes you're not able to fix some of those things. And,
Right.
So leaving that company, to give you an idea. So when I left that company, I had Paisley was already born. We had gotten married. Some really major things went down within that company in January of that year. So
What year was that?
That was 2014.
Okay.
So that year in February 14th, Lori and I were getting married. So we already had one baby. And the week of our wedding, we found out we were having another one.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm weathering a storm within that company, a pretty major one, that during that time. And I'm like, man, so then I had a buddy, that owned a different, and he's like, man, we should start something. But I had a non-compete and all these challenges that kind of restricted me from being able to do that. So, I kind of went into business with him trying to, finagle away. How do I work around this non-compete? Worked with him for a couple of months, and we had a deal that he never ended up paying me. So I lost a ton of money and never got paid. And,
wow,
tried to help him build a business and ended up getting hosed in that deal. And then from there, and I always tell this story a lot when I'm doing sales training. Never make a decision in your life out of desperation, because every time I felt nervous, I came from a corporate America career of, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years in corporate America, right, with multiple companies.
Yeah.
So I just thought everybody was cool and honest and legit. And, you get outside of those big corporations where most everything is pretty on the up and up, and you realize that, not everything is. And so I went from there and partnered with another guy to start another company. And that company grew so fast that it went out of control. And the guy was like, man, should we sell it? Should we not? Like, made a deal to sell it. I had a job with another company and that went sideways. And so the list goes on. I mean, we could have a 2-hour show on just that story of going through quite a bit. And as I got through that, I ended up leaving the asphalt industry altogether and getting a sales job and just saying, man, I'm done with this, and just going to basically create these companies as a side hustle, and lo and behold, I get drugged back into it to help another company that ended up being sold, and then here we are today. We formed the Pavement Group, last year, and the rest is history, as they say. But and to go back to your point, the challenges never stop, man. I mean, it's a different set of challenges every day. And I will tell you, yesterday was a phenomenal day. We got a couple large contracts that came in, but we've gone through some waves this year of just, you got a lot of momentum, and then it seems like the momentum kind of falls out from underneath you. And then, what do? One of the things that I'm going to record a podcast here on is how do you gain momentum back when you feel like you're at a standstill?
Dude, and you know what? First off, I have to say hello. There's some hot chick on here named Lori Lynn Hess. Do you know her?
She is pretty hot. Yeah, I do know her. Yeah.
She says, just look at you now, babe. Love that. That's awesome. Chris Bretzler's on here. Oh, snap. Who's that young guy? So, and that's the thing, man. One of the cool things about social media is how many people that are out there that support us, that we've become friends with, that we've been able to help. And I know that you do coaching, you do training, and a lot of other really cool things besides your primary business, and you have the opportunity to help people. But that's he said that was for Ken. Oh, so nice. Yeah. I'm 10 years older than you. I know I don't look it. And there's your mom. Oh my gosh, dude. So, but you talk to people that hit those, I mean, you and I've talked about it where you've had challenges or I've had challenges. You called me one day, you're like, I just lost $25,000 on a job or something. I was like, whoa, dude. And so, but people don't understand. They see, and I think social media is great, but I also think that people just see a picture. They only get to see a little window of, there's, how many seconds are there in a day? I should know. I've seen the post so many times. 84,600 or something, right?
I think you're correct.
Yeah. So you see a picture, that's 1 second of the day, right? That's 1 second of the day of somebody smiling. But then the rest of the day, like, what's going on then? And you've been through that stuff. And so when you're talking to people, when people call you and say, dude, I need your help, man, I'm freaking out, I'm, blah, blah, blah. What are some of the things that you do to help that person in that moment?
Number one, I thought about this long and hard because I planned on doing a podcast about it. And it's, for me, I'll tell you what I did. And it was this weekend, I was like, man, I need to personally, because there's a lot of people that rely on me for inspiration, energy, all those kinds of things. And so when I'm in a funk, I got to find my way out of it so that I can help these other people. Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, it is do the things that make you feel accomplished. And so what I did this weekend, man, and I'm a weird cat like this, but I literally washed my truck and cleaned the inside of it, like to the point that it was absolutely spotless, because I had to go on the road this week and I wanted to get in that truck and feel like, man, this is, I'm in the zone, right?
I got to stop you right there. Dude, that's freaking powerful. Believe it or not, I don't care. And let me say this too. A lot of people have shared this out, and I want to say thank you. I'm sure Brian thanks you too. A lot of people have shared this out. So that's awesome. But dude, that's probably one of the most powerful things, as simple as it seems. That's one of the most powerful things ever said on this show. When you do those little things, right? Clean your truck, Wash the dishes. Put them away. Do those little things.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, man? I had five big meetings, 5 site visits this week that are, probably a combined $3 million worth of business for our company potential, right?
Yeah.
And I pulled up to those sites feeling like, here I am, right?
Yeah.
And so the second thing that I did was I cut the grass around my house. There's two things that, man, growing up, and my mom's probably on here, but, I always liked, having a well manicured lawn. And my dad was always a freak about having our cars clean. And, to me, it's like that appearance, there's something about it. It's like having a clean desk, having an organized, work environment. Those little things, man, are what start. And so I worked my ass off this weekend doing those things, getting my house ready before I had to leave on Sunday. And, that created the momentum that when I got on the road, man, I was in the zone. Then I started listening to audiobooks. I think I shared with you, I was listening to David Goggins. And then I went straight from David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me into Jesse Itzler's Living with a Seal. And you start to think about and talk to other people about the things that you're consuming. And so for me, it was like those books taught me or reminded me a lot about life is really about how well we can embrace suffering, right? And so the more that you can appreciate that suffering for what it's doing for you as a person, how it's improving you as a human being, it's all about perspective, right? It's like, I don't look at those things anymore and say, why me? I look at those things and think to myself, like, I was gifted with this adversity.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. It took me a long, long time to not think, why me? It is a gift to go through those things, because if you catch it in stride and you can internalize those things and you've got the right people around you to support you through those things and get you through, man, on the other side, it's just that much better. You learn a lot more. I made a post last week about, admitting your mistakes is not a bad thing. It's actually admitting that you're smarter.
Yeah, and I got to back you up just a little bit, man, to David Goggins' book. And I listen to, I recommend that book literally every single day to somebody, like every day. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. If you think your life is tough in any way, it's all about perspective, right? It's all about perspective. And holy crap, man. Like that dude, and nothing stopped him. Like nothing. And I mean, you can go back to the beginning of his life and it's like, okay, that was enough to stop most people, right?
And it still doesn't, by the way.
No.
Like he's still going. And I mean, heart surgeries and, being born with a heart defect. And, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to ruin the book for the people who are out there. But, it really just teaches you about the most important thing in the world is mental toughness, right? Yeah. And so, I started the program 75 Hard because I knew that I needed some improvement on that discipline and mental toughness side of my life. And man, it has done tremendous things. And I'm actually glad that I didn't start until after I had been through a little bit of suffering myself. Yeah. Because you can relate to it and you start to think to yourself, there was so many times during this, I think I'm on 58 or 59 days of 75 Hard, but so many times that people told me, oh, you should slow down, your knees are sore, you should take a day off, or you should, and listen, man, we could just cave in and give in to all those excuses. And the reality is that is how the world lives. We all do it because we are programmed from a very young age to be that way. And the reality is the elite that you admire on social media that have actually made it, not the posers, but the ones who have actually made it, every single one of them has learned how to suffer and put a smile on their face.
Yep.
And appreciate that suffering for really what it is. And it is there to teach you a lesson. The fulfillment of life comes from overcoming obstacles. It doesn't come from driving down the road, getting every green light. If that's what you pray for, then shame on you.
Wow. Dude.
Right? Because the reality is what you should pray for is experience. The experiences in life, dude. We have built a friendship on having conversations that are probably 60, 70, 80% about adversity.
It is. It's true, and man. It's
closer
true.
to somebody by discussing the tough things in your life, man. And your closest friends, what do they open up to you about? The difficult things.
Yep.
And the closer you get, what do they talk to you more about? The more difficult things. They start to open up, right? Yep. And they start to share with you the most difficult parts of their life. That's the gift.
It's true, man. Absolutely true. My wife's on here. She said happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Jill. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And she's been to your house too, man. You guys are awesome. Met your whole family. I think our kids even got into a fight. I'm kidding.
It's always lively, man. It's always lively.
I'm kidding. I don't think they fought, but you know, I mean, so the adversities in life, and again, you know, I've always said, like, you don't learn. I can watch you walk up to a hot stove and put your hand on the burner, maybe even watch it sizzle and hear you scream and cuss and all that. But I don't truly understand how hot that is until I touch it, right? And people are like, well, dude, you made this big mistake, and then we play it over and over and over and over in our heads. And the fact is people see the mistake that we make, maybe, right? They're not playing it over and over and over in their heads. We're the only ones doing that.
Yeah,
right?
100%. It's literally, man. It's and this is really, you know, in the Can't Hurt Me book.
Yes.
It talks about mind control a lot. And, you know, I felt like I've always been pretty good at that. You know, I'm really good at redirecting other people. Sometimes I need to be a little bit better at redirecting myself at times. Like, you know, not that I don't ever redirect myself, but it's just the speed at which you're able to do it is the speed at which you're able to get, you know, back on the horse and get back to what you're really supposed to be doing. But that mind control, man, is really, that's the difference between the elite. Like, if you just analyze athletes in general, you know, how is it that certain athletes are able to make that clutch shot? I believe that if you look at an NBA basketball game, a lot of the guys that are on the court probably have a very similar ability, but they can't calm themselves to use their natural muscle memory and drain that shot when the pressure's on. Why is that? Because they haven't ran through enough adversity to calm their nerves. It's not that people don't get nervous. It's that they learn how to control it.
That's right.
It over matter, right?
That's right. And people, like, you know, and Goggins talks about it in his book. Jesse Itzler, in his book, Living with a SEAL, he talks about, you know, Goggins said, all right, in day one, he's like, all right, get up there on that bar and give me 100 pull-ups. And Jesse says, and of course I got up there and pulled off 100 pull-ups and got down and said, okay, what's next? And then he goes, okay, no, that didn't really happen. I did like 4 or 5 of them and said, oh my God, I'm done. Right. And he's like, no, you're not. Get up there, you know, and that's what it's about, man. And he says that in his book that when your mind tells you, I've done everything, I have nothing left in the tank, I've done everything, you've only hit maybe 40% of your potential. I mean, and I strongly recommend that book. I mean, seriously, because I was listening to it. I'm gonna try like hell to get David Goggins on this show, man. And Jesse Itzler, I'm coming for you, man. You're gonna be on. I love that dude. So you know that people don't realize how much strength they actually have, and so they cave.
Yeah, and I think, you know, another important thing, man, is, you know, I talk a lot about this regularly, but your circle. You know, Because let me tell you something, man, no matter what, no matter how mentally tough you are, no matter how strong you are, there's going to be times in your life where having someone, to help you out of that split second you have some weakness
Yep.
makes all the difference in the world. And so, it's that circle of yours that's going to help you. If you don't have the strength right now and you're looking to start something, borrow somebody else's strength, man. That's why coaching programs are what they are, because you're able to gain energy, gain momentum, gain confidence through somebody else. And
Yep.
then those people, if they're doing their jobs as a coach, they will teach you how to manifest that yourself. And that's the idea. Is I'm not there yet, man. I rely on other people still too. I'd be interested to hear, when you interview David Goggins, does he ever borrow strength from somebody else even still? Because it's that, there's a reason why we're dropped on this earth not alone. And it takes an army of people to build a life the way that people do. When they say, use the word self-made, there is no such thing.
No.
There's always a whole group of people, behind that person that you're looking at.
Amen.
For me, man, I get the honor and privilege to be in front of a lot of people like this. But the number of people who are behind me, alongside of me, doing all of these things in my life, man, is like unbelievable. From business partners to, people that we work with, the contractors that help us out in the field, my family, my wife, like these people are all right alongside me. Sometimes they got more energy than I do, right? And I'm feeding off of them to keep going, when, deep down inside, I'm thinking to myself, man, can I keep going?
Yeah.
But those people, and listen, it's a back and forth. Sometimes you're lending energy to them, and sometimes they're giving it to you. That's what it's all about. That's what having that circle is all about. And man, I can't. This morning I woke up and I sent my wife. One of my buddies sent me a video this morning while I was at the gym, and like it literally made me emotional to watch it, man, because it was like, just wishing me a happy birthday, thanking me for being a good friend. And, I said to my wife, I'm like, I got chills right now just talking about it. But like I said, man, if you ever wonder why I always take those phone calls, or I always, these are the kinds of people that I am blessed to have in my life, man. And that is the jet fuel in the tank, man, of how you're going to get where you're going faster. You're not going to do it alone. And
dude, you're 1000% right. And again, and there are some egomaniacs out there, especially in social media land, that talk about being self-made and they did it all on their own. And the greats, I mean the true greats, Ed Milet, which we're going to talk about that interview you told me to check out. I watched the YouTube version of it instead of listening to the podcast, and holy crap, dude. But Ed Milet, Grant Cardone, these people, Andy Frisilla, these people are like legit, and they always say, you hear them all the time giving thanks to their teams, the people that actually help them get there, right? And Goggins does talk about, I think at some point in his book, I don't remember, but I thought he talked about that he still has a coach, that he still uses. And, you and I both do coaching. We both, and coach other people and teach other people how to, but like, dude.
And each other. We coach each other.
And I was getting ready to say that. Like, we reach out to each other, man, when in good times and in bad times. Like you called me, I think it was about a month ago, and you're like, dude, just keep going. And I'm like, I am. And you're like, no, I just closed a big freaking deal, and we won't talk about how much you got in, but it was a big check and all. And I'm like, wow, dude, that's awesome, man. And that's where true power comes from. And that's why I created the show, was just so people like you could come on here and share your story, your inspiration, your strength and hope with other people.
That's and don't ever think that, and a lot of times we celebrate those moments, right? Where, we're having a good time, but, alongside that, behind the scenes there's a lot of, bad times and struggling times and scary times. And the best thing that I could give people advice, that are watching, that are thinking about starting a business or going through a bad time is it will turn, but you have to keep doing the things that got you there. One of the conversations that we had this week within our company was, let's not forget what got us here, right? So when we get off track, how do we get back on track? We get back on track by doing the things that got us to the point where we're at and having faith in those things that they're going to continue to produce the results that we need. And so it's, you want to talk about that interview with Ed Milet. It's about delivering on a promise to yourself is step number one. And that is when you're going through a rough time and you don't know what to do. You feel like you're under fire and you just want to crouch down in the foxhole and go to sleep.
Yeah.
What you have to do is take massive action in a positive direction, doing the things that are the right things and the right disciplines that you need to get back to every day. Nobody that you're watching on social media has perfect discipline. They are striving towards having it. Every single day they're working hard to make sure that it gets better.
Yep.
Like I could tell you a million things with regard to my discipline that I'd like to improve. I try to write in my planner every morning. It doesn't always work out, but you have to work every single day to get that to be a better discipline, a more accurate discipline. How do you do that? Well, you do it by holding yourself accountable and not just blowing it off and saying, oh, whatever. One of the most powerful things in that interview is when they talked about the guy that had lost 400 pounds and then he gained it all back, and he linked it back to one soda that he filled up in a gas station. He walked in to get a drink, and instead of putting it under the diet, he put it under the regular soda. Yep. And that one soda led to him gaining 400 pounds back that he had lost. He was 600 pounds, lost it all, and then gained it all back from that one break. And so that is the importance of discipline.
It's the one broken promise that they talk about. And it's not me calling you up and saying, and we'll say you're my coach and you're like, well, Ken, you got to make sure you're making your bed every morning. And I go, Brian, I promise I'm going to make my bed. It's not about me making that promise to you. It's the promise to myself. And that's what they talk about. It's Chris Powell and Heidi Powell. What was the name of their show on ABC?
Biggest Loser.
No, that was the other show. Extreme Weight Loss or something.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Biggest Loser was with Jillian Michaels.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But they had, so it was 5.5 years it ran, and they helped 70 some odd people lose hundreds of pounds each. And the people that gained the weight back, they talk about this in the interview with Ed Milet, and they say, it always goes back to the person making promises to themselves and then breaking those promises. It goes back to one broken promise to themselves.
I listened to Andy Frisella's last podcast this morning at the gym, man, and it talked all about your personal integrity. And I will tell you, man, I'm striving towards getting better at that. I break promises to myself all the time. And, it's not okay. And that's when I find the best version of myself, it'll have a lot less broken promises. And that is how we all function. And so don't ever feel like, man, I got so far to go, I shouldn't start. It's a journey, man. It is every single day. One of my friends sent me a picture this morning from the gym, and I told her, now let's see that same place. Let's see you in that same place for 75 more days. Yeah. Because it's not about going to the gym once. It's about making that promise to yourself and keeping it, especially when you don't feel like it. And when you do those things, you start to gain that inner confidence that takes you to a whole new level in your life. And it's those little things that add up. If you look at the people that dominate in business, in life, in marriage, and with their kids, it's because they don't make excuses.
Dude, and I would go out on a limb to say, and again, there's so many resources. There's so many different people that talk about this very topic right here. I would go out on a limb to say that I would say 99.9% of all failure in life goes back to this very topic.
100%.
I think that people do not realize that I say to myself, okay, I'm going to, as Grant's always talking about, beat the sun up. Like, I'm going to beat the sun up. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. The sunrise is at 6. I am getting up before the sun. Whatever the time is, you say to yourself, not the world. The world doesn't give a crap. They don't care if you beat the sun up or you sleep all day. It's you, right?
Yeah, dude, I had a guy, it's a great topic. I had a dude send me a DM on Instagram in the middle of 75 hours, 30 something days, right?
Yeah.
And he said, are you really doing these workouts? Because, I haven't seen you post anything. And I'm like, man, don't get it twisted. I don't do these workouts so that I can post it on social media, and I don't answer to you.
Right.
I don't have to post a workout to prove to you I did it. It's about me.
Yes.
I'm sharing it so that I can hopefully inspire somebody else to maybe improve themselves. But I'm not doing this so that you can keep track, man. What's wrong with people? And these are the people that are out there,
right,
making promises to themselves every day. Like, dude, worry about your own damn promises, man.
Right.
Like, get out of my life and worry about your own.
Dude,
it's crazy.
People are like, it is so much easier to find fault with other people than with ourselves.
Always, man.
It
Always.
is, man.
It is wild how many people. And I'm like, man, why would you even care?
Yeah, because haters gonna hate.
It's crazy, man. But
it is crazy.
It comes with the territory, and that's it's part of it, man. Everybody's gonna think of your reason for doing things from their own perspective, and they're entitled to that. But as I say to a lot of people, man, you saying it out loud or repeating it doesn't make it true.
Oh my God, that's true, man. That is true. So dude, like, I mean, we could probably wrap it up right now, but I don't want to. But I mean, and the reason is those broken promises to yourself. Like, it's so simple. I've made some changes here lately. I have Colleen Reynolds says haters with a bunch of angry faces. You got to love your haters though, man. Because the haters are what they provide fuel. They really do provide fuel for getting to the next level in life. And I never understood that. I never understood that until recently. But, I made a huge change recently. I've got this beautiful iPad sitting next to me, and I've been for the last couple of years taking all my notes on the iPad, or if I don't have it with me, I use the Notes app on my iPhone, and even doing some of my goal writing and stuff like that on there. And it was just a few days ago, I forget. Oh, I found an old paper tablet, and it's like, dude, we were killing it in life back then. And I'm looking through, and I have notes from a meeting with Grant Cardone that I had. I had all these other notes from all these different people, and I'm like, man, I wonder if there's any connection between using an actual pen and real paper. And so, like, I started taking notes and writing things down and all this on actual paper, and it's completely different. And I forgot, and I'm 50, I'll be 51 years old. And it just occurred to me that maybe I should be using real paper instead. And so, it's these little tiny shifts that we can make in life that make all the difference.
Yeah, I think, man, once you get to the point of, who you are, where you're going, you're no longer looking for these massive transformations, right? You're looking for inches. And so, I consume a lot of books, audio books, podcasts, things like that, because And I always say, like, I'll look back after an hour, right, of listening to a podcast, and if I got one thing out of there that really triggered my mind to think differently, it's a huge victory, because it will play over and over and over again in your mind to keep you on track. And those are the things. It's like, find those people that influence you in such a positive way and listen to their content, and then listen to it over again.
Yeah.
There's books that I've listened to 4 times. This book I've read probably 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
And every time I read it, it's like there's something new that I pick up that's different than the last time.
Right.
Sometimes it's in my marriage. Sometimes it's in business. Sometimes it's in friendships. But it's the proving that you are always under transformation.
Yep.
That you can read the same book, but it gives you a completely different meaning the next time. You pick up on different things that improve you.
Yes.
So it's constant, man. And you got to look for those inches, because at some point in your life, those major transformations need to, you got to be careful making too many of them. You're just constantly reinventing yourself, and you're not really, filling in the blanks that you need to.
And here's the other thing is listening to and watching and reading books by people who've made it, like people that have, and I don't, everybody's definition of making it is different. I get that. But I'm talking about like Chris and Heidi Powell and Ed Milet, right? Like it was literally Chris was, before the huge shift into fame and the TV show and all, the dude was hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, a drug addict, and everything else. And Heidi,
couches.
Yeah, he was sleeping for 6 months or more. He was couch surfing.
His own friend's house.
Yeah,
because he slept on his couch too long.
Exactly. And Heidi struggled with an eating disorder and all of these things. And then, they just kept pushing, man. They kept going. They kept going. They kept going. They didn't give up. And that's the thing is, you see people that maybe start a business, right? And everything goes wrong for 10 years. Andy Frisella talks about that, that when they started First Form, him and his partner, he didn't eat. He made, how much was it? I forget how much it was.
50,000 over 10 years.
Yes.
Not 50,000 a year for 10 years. $50,000 in the
total
first 10 years of his business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but he never gave up. He never gave up. And he kept pushing forward, sleeping in the back room of a store, like for 10 years.
Yeah. And one of the chapters in my book that's coming out soon is called It's What's Supposed to Happen.
Right.
And it's the truth. Your perspective on life, you have to be prepared to endure the things. And the bigger your goals are, the more things you have to endure to get them. And if you don't believe that, you're fooling yourself. Nobody gets it by accident. If you want it by accident, go play the lottery. But the people who really make it in life, and by the way, money is not the goal. It's not the end goal, and people miss that. Money is a byproduct of doing the right things, of having, making a lot of connections, serving a lot of people, solving a lot of problems. Yep. And people in today's world, it's like, I say this in my book too. It's like people float on the surface, man, like fish food. And they wonder why they get eaten up. And it's like, that's the easiest place for the fish to eat, man. If you don't want to get eaten, you got to go down below the surface, man. But underneath the surface, as you get deeper in the water, there's pressure down there.
Yep.
And if you can't endure that pressure, then you can never be safe and secure. And that's ultimately what people are after, is the safety and security. It's not the money. It's not the fame. It's not anything like that. It is serving people. People that have a mission end up feeling fulfilled. There's plenty of people that have tons of money and live in mansions and have yachts that are miserable human beings. And so don't ever set your goals on money, or you will be disappointed because you'll never have enough of it.
Dude, that's That's fire, dude. That's like pure fire right there, and it's 1,000% true. And again, there's a lot of people that are programmed to believe that money is the root of all evil, or the love of money is the root of all evil, or and so they're brought up to believe that, oh, rich people are bad, and all of these other things, right? And it's just not true. It's not true. In fact, some of the most giving, caring, loving people that I've ever known in my life are extremely wealthy. They are.
And it's something, it says, if they say that or they think that, and if anybody out there that's on this stream thinks that, remember this when you think it. It says something about you more than it says something about that person, because you don't really know them. And the reality is, so many people, even the people that, maybe I disagree with, they probably do far more than what I would ever give someone credit for. And, the reality of it is that you shouldn't ever pass judgment on somebody that's out there in the world trying to make a difference. Yeah. And they're making a difference in the way that they see fit. And the less judgmental you are, the more satisfaction you'll have, the more you feel whole. It's not about dragging other people down, man. It's about lifting everybody up. And, today is my birthday, and I know we're probably coming to a close here. If anybody watching this stream, whether it's live or on the replay, if you want to do something for my birthday, here's what you can do. Do something kind for somebody else today, right? God has blessed us all with another day and to live and experience each other, experience the world. And, at the end of the day, we all have a responsibility to each other to make the world a better place. It's not about what you get. It's about what does the world look like after you make an impact. And that is the most important thing that we can do in the world, is to do for others. And so, just be kind to somebody, hold the door, shake somebody's hand. I got kids behind me there.
I see them back there. That's so cute.
But they just came in the house, so my daughter is she's peeking in. Oh, there's her friend.
So dude, I love that. Like, and again, there's so many people that say, they mouth the words, oh, I'm gonna, I want to help people, and let's get our tribe together to help people, and like, what are you really doing to help people? Like, what are you really doing? Holding the door. I did it at a restaurant yesterday. I held the door. For a minute, I thought, man, I think I'm the new doorman at this place, because like, I held the door for one person. It turned into like 8, and I'm like, but that's all right, man. You gotta do those things. You've got to do those things and help other people, man. Help other people.
Yeah, do the right thing. I just posted last night. I said, do the right thing, especially when it's uncomfortable, because that's usually when it's needed the most. And that was a conversation between my wife and I yesterday. It was like, I was having a conversation, and she was in a situation where, she just kind of let something slide that somebody had done, something bad in the past. And I said, like, I get it. It's uncomfortable, right? You don't want to be amongst a bunch of people and then this person, but if you don't do the right thing always, especially when it's uncomfortable, then you're not helping people.
Right.
You're looking at it as, oh, I don't want to be the negative person. But sometimes, not letting somebody off the hook is giving them a gift. It's not you're being a bad person or you're being difficult. It's like, you're not allowed to do that, man. You don't get to come and do something negative to someone's family and then just, get forgiven in an instant. Like, that person they got a process, right? And, it's uncomfortable sometimes to be in those scenarios where doing the right thing feels really awkward or really, can be uncomfortable. But doing the right thing, and especially when people aren't watching and especially when it's uncomfortable, is what makes the world a better place.
Dude, as you know, and a lot of people know, I'm a recovered alcoholic with 17 years sober almost. And it's incredible to me because I learned a long time ago, it does not matter what and that, I stopped drinking way before social media even existed. Like, I think MySpace might have been around, but like, I quit drinking way back in
for that, huh?
Yeah. Right. What's that?
I said, thank goodness for that, huh?
Yeah. Right. So, but like, I quit drinking way back then, and it's and Chris and Heidi talk about this, the broken promises. The reason we break promises to ourselves is because we are doing it. It's not like if I decided someday I'm gonna drink and I'm gonna relapse the chances of me going out with Brian Hess or any of my other friends that know that I'm a recovered alcoholic, like, you'd beat my ass, and you wouldn't allow it to happen, right? But like, it's probably going to happen when nobody's watching. It's going to be it's the guy at the Coke machine. Instead of getting a Diet Coke, he got a regular Coke. That broken promise it's when nobody else is watching. Stop putting stuff out on Facebook and Instagram about how awesome things are, and start taking care of your crap when nobody's watching. Stop breaking those promises, right?
Absolutely, man. And that's the problem is that our own personal accountability, a lot of times, like, people don't take that serious because they think, you can, use this analogy. Like, if somebody told you they were going to come help you move, or, they told you they were going to come take your kid to a birthday party, and they didn't do that, and they're a friend of yours, you're probably not going to be friends with them anymore. Right.
Right.
But we let ourselves break promises all the time, and there's no punishment.
Right.
It's not the same. Right. And so we have to hold ourselves to a much higher standard than we all typically do. And I'm telling you guys, pay attention to the people around you, because here's what happens. And my mom's probably still on here. My mom will love me no matter how bad I screw up, right?
Yep.
So no matter what I say to my mom that I didn't do, she will say, it's okay, you work hard, and blah, 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 and it's okay, and it's okay, and it's okay.
Yep.
And that's what my mom's supposed to say. But that shouldn't give you an excuse to go out and not do the things that you're supposed to be responsible for because nobody's watching, or because your mom told you it was okay. It's not okay, and it's not okay. So stop not holding yourself accountable and start making a difference in your own life. And once you start making a difference in your own life, it will be amazing to you how many other lives you'll impact just by doing the right thing.
Dude, that's so powerful, man. And you're right. The people that love us, that are around us, will help us justify breaking those promises, man.
100% they do.
And they don't do it out of malice. They do it out of love.
They love you.
Right.
And they want you to be safe and comfortable. Like, when I started 75 Hard, it was like it was a weekend. It was the day after Easter, I think, or maybe it was Easter.
Yeah.
And I said, my knee's sore. My mom said, oh, you just need to take a break. You work too hard. You should take a break.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take a break. And you know what? 3 days later, after I ran on that sore knee, it was perfectly fine. Yeah. But the reality is, my mom cares more about me being safe.
Yeah.
That's her job.
And
right?
it's good. It's good intention. I love your mom. She's amazing.
My mom loves me. That's what she's supposed to do, is keep me safe. That's what your job is as a parent, as a friend, as a spouse, right? But the reality is, if you're going to do anything great in life, you're going to have to push through the limits, and you got to push through pain, and you got to keep promises to yourself. And if you don't, then don't be surprised when you're looking at other people wondering how they get there, because they all kept more promises to themselves than you did.
Wow. So we are going to have to wrap up here in the next few, because I want to put this interview on IGTV. And if we go over an hour, I can't. So we're at 54 minutes and 50 seconds. So what's you're 40 years old today, man. And I said it earlier, but happy birthday. There went your smoking hot wife.
Rolling around the house. I was here by myself.
She's awesome.
For 45 minutes, but not anymore.
What's that?
I said I was here by myself for 45 minutes, but you must have gotten home in the meantime.
It's all good, man. So, you're 40 years old. Happy birthday. I love you like a brother. And you and I sat out there's the little one. Look at him. So you and I sat out on the front porch of your house, the day you were moving in, actually,
Yeah.
or well, in that time.
Yeah, it was. It was maybe a day after we started.
Day after.
Yeah.
And we had a long, great conversation, man. And just tell me though, what's coming? What's next, man? I mean, I try not to project too far into the future, and I stay in the moment and plan my plans for sure. But what do you have going, man? What's coming up for you in the next couple of years?
I mean, honestly, man, there's a lot of details that we could run through, but it's, I think all the time. I just had this conversation with one of my buddies this morning. I think the future looks different than what I do right now. Right? It's like, how do you impact more lives? How do you help more people? How do you, do those things that really make a difference in the world? And I want to do more of that. And from a business standpoint. The pavement group is great. We got a couple of our guys on here watching right now, and the group of people that we have put together at that company is just phenomenal. And forget about their talents; they have tons of talent with regard to business, but they're just awesome human beings, man. And when you get to work around awesome human beings that no matter what, we all have each other's backs, and at the end of the day, we talk openly. That's what builds a great company. And so. We'll do great things there. And, we're helping a ton of people on Top Contractor School grow their businesses. We got 3 or 4 guys that went through our program off season this year that have tripled or quadrupled their business already year to date, and they got 6 months to go.
Wow.
There's a lot of great things. And we got a lot of stuff coming down the pike from a technology standpoint that will, influence and change our industry, hopefully. And, but all in all, it comes down to, how do we help more people, man? And how do we, and some of that is related to business. How do we solve people's problems in business?
Yeah.
Through technology solutions or coaching or whatever it is, or how do we solve our customers' problems by, taking stress off of them? One of the things we say at the pavement group is like, dude, people literally miss dinner with their families because they're dealing with the wrong pavement contractor.
Wow.
We're trying to solve. It's not about paving your parking lot. Lots of people can do that, but we're trying to impact people. And when we maintain that focus, at the end of the day, there is no limit to what impact we can make. And so,
Love it,
for
dude.
me, it's working on myself as much as I can so that I can in turn, hopefully help a lot of other people. And then, through that, just maintaining the focus in everything that we get into that's, trying to solve problems, man.
Yeah.
Trying to make it.
So, dude, like we're down to a minute and a half, and first I want to say big happy birthday.
Thank you, man. No place I'd rather be today, man.
I mean, you're 40, dude. You're 40, and I know you've lost 26 pounds on doing the 75 hard.
23.
What?
23.
23 pounds, my bad. Dude, you look fantastic. I know things are going great for you. And listen, happy birthday. Thank you for everything. And everybody go follow Brian on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Like they can follow you everywhere, right?
Yep. All the platforms. It's Real Brian Hess, REAL Brian Hess. You can find me everywhere.
Brother, I appreciate you coming on, sharing some of your inspiration and hope. You're a good dude, man. Really appreciate you.
Right back at you, man. Right back at you.
All right. Happy birthday.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
We'll see you later. See you guys later. Thanks so much. Thanks to everybody who shared. If you're not following Brian Hess, go follow him right now. Dude's badass. Appreciate you, brother.